Hey there, how's it going? I have a class starting in August called Spectral Reader. This is a course I've developed if you are a tarot reader and you want to use tarot for mediumship. And I really built this because um, there's a lot of gatekeeping that happens in the psychic world, the New Age world, and I hear a lot of modern day traditional mediums really kind of lording it over tarot readers saying, well, I'm a no tool medium and I'm just going to be like so much better than you because of it. But the thing is, honestly, they've got to read some history because everything they know, mostly if they are white, mostly, and they are in Canada, North America, and Great Britain, France, comes from the rise of the spiritualism movement in the 1700s through really the heyday until about Houdini time, 1930s, I guess. And much of that came from the actual spirit boards, and that the spiritualists were known for using spirit boards and said in 1886 that the use of spirit boards enabled faster communication with spirits. So, question, how would it be different to lead a tarot reader's hands to the cards the spirit wishes to convey versus a literal planchette? It's the same thing. And if they knew their history, they would understand that spiritualism had all kinds of different mediumship styles. There's mental mediumship, which is what they typically do. There's also trance mediumship, which is closer to what we would see in modern day Afro-Caribbean styles of trance mediumship and African mediumship and Brazilian mediumship. And there's also physical mediumship, which was defined as manipulation of objects outside of the medium. So the phenomena of communication is not coming directly from the medium, but from a secondary source that the medium is empowering. And that's how you're going to use tarot mediumship. Here's a super cool picture, by the way, of a medium known as a trumpet medium, where they're using the trumpet as a secondary source, and the spirit is actually speaking in the spirit's own voice, being powered by the ectoplasm that is being produced by the medium's body, which is evidence of bringing in substrate from the other dimension. I just thought that was such a cool picture, and I'm like, why don't we have ectoplasm anymore? Where did that go? And there's a couple reasons why mediums try to gatekeep mediumship and not include tarot. And it has to do with historical differences between spiritualism and tarot. Tarot and cartomancy in the US in the 1700s. There was Lenormand before there was tarot, by the way, in the US. Did you know that? And there was like regular playing card divination. All of that was happening across cottage tables in colonial America before tarot came popular in the late 1900s. So tarot and more cartomancy was a lowbrow worker class. You'd hit up, someone in the Bronx and go up her back steps to get a reading, and they were known for that work. But spiritualism came from an upper middle class experience. So you had a class difference, but also a very divergent history that never really kind of like crossed. Let me give you another good example of one of these kinds of things that you're probably well aware of. Why is it that in my life, every part of my body is something that I would typically go see my medical doctor for, but dentistry is completely different. And these luxury bones, as I like to call them, have a different kind of insurance typically, but they also have a different schooling system, political system, leadership system, and there's a reason why. Back in the day, medical specialists, physicians didn't do surgery. That was the purview of barbers. The barber pole is for bloodletting. So barbers back in medieval times were bloodletting you, they were pulling out your teeth, they were shaving warts off your head, they were giving you a haircut, they were shaving you, they were doing pig castrations, they were doing all kinds of things, but they have a history of being very, very proficient with small tools. And they were more of the working man's urgent care clinic. And because of these class differences and political differences and school differences, it eventually got codified into these two different places where there's definitely like overlap, but they are quite distinct in a weird way. And you're like, why is that? It's not that different from spiritualism and tarot. So the difference is partially structural, partially class, partially historical. But for our purposes, we can also add marketing. Yes, indeed, marketing. In marketing principles, you are taught to set yourself apart, explain why you're unique and so special. Some people do that with degrees, certifications, and so on. And some people do that by claiming that their method is somehow more legitimate, correct, and therefore better. You've probably heard it, that I'm a no-tools psychic, or I'm a fifth-generation psychic. Neither one of these claims are actual proofs for how good they are, but they are playing on common, often unexamined beliefs by the public about how psychic phenomena work, mostly from Hollywood. Kind of like those con artists that slide in your DMs saying, I feel a connection, darling heart from the universe. I think your soulmate who beat you up and walked out on you with all your money, he's going to come back. And for a reading for $19.99, I can tell you when. It's stupid, but if it's said often enough by enough people, it becomes true, even when it's not. So if spiritualism uses spirit boards, physical mediumship, and all kinds of outer effects to transmit the communication from one dimension to another, why would using tarot be any different? If a spirit pushes your hand along with a planchette in a spirit board, or pushes your pen to write, or your brush to make art, are we really saying they cannot also move your hands across a tarot deck? And this is a painting done, a spiritualist painting. How is that really different? It really isn't. That's the point. But because these schools are very different, there's not been a lot of overlap and training for tarot mediumship. And that's where I come in. I'm so excited to teach you this, honestly. Because the thing was, I was a medium before I was a tarot reader. But because of tarot mediumship, I'm a better medium. But you don't have to be a medium to be a tarot medium. You just need to learn how to read tarot. And if you do that, we can then add this piece and you're going to be amazing. The techniques I teach are everything I do with my clients. In my business, I've been a full-time reader since 2012. And this is tools and techniques I developed that work very consistently. I just need to show you how. And I'm so excited because we're going to finally bridge this gap and start a whole new thing. And I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm going to be talking a lot about this. I have so much to even just share on socials before we get into the class. But if you're curious, you want to know more, hit the bio. But yeah, the whole reason is marketing, and also this, historical and classic divisions over time that didn't create a lot of overlap. But none of it is because you cannot be a medium with tarot. And none of it is because you're less of a medium than a no-tools medium, not by any stretch of the imagination. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm so spicy. I can't wait to share more. Yeah, let me know what you think.